Yeah, it's one of the things that people have said once they've actually read the book is that once you know what split-second persuasion, or as I call it, flipnosis is, you see it in all walks of life. It's sometimes not something that you can consciously plan to do in advance, but it's a lot more common than I first thought when I first started writing the book. And I think one of the best examples which I've ever come across was I was recently in Sydney in Australia, and I was walking along the road in George Street in central Sydney, and there was a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk. We picture a man with long grey hair and a straggly grey beard, and he had a plate of money out in front of him, and beside him was a cardboard sign, and it said on it, "Homeless for 6 months, schizophrenic, both of us." And I thought, well, that's really cool. It made me laugh. And one of the other principles of persuasion, we were talking earlier about how to frame in someone's self-interest to get them to do things. If you can make them feel good, if you can make them feel happy when you're trying to persuade them, if you can put them in a good frame of mind, then that works very well too. And so what this guy did, he made me smile, and that put me in a good mood. And of course I gave him some money. Simplicity, perceived self-interest that we were talking about earlier, incongruity or surprise, confidence and empathy. And very luckily, those 5 factors spell SPICE, which is why my model of persuasion is called the SPICE model. Now, if in your message you can combine all of those factors, all 5 of the SPICE factors into your message, you will get a kind of persuasion that really does unlock consciousness is probably not the right way of putting it, but it will break down your defenses. I wouldn't say that you've got a kind of persuasion that is 100% irresistible. No, it doesn't exist. But certainly 85 or 90% chance of working for you. And so that's how you do it. You combine as many of those 5 factors as you possibly can into your message. There are some people who are always going to be brilliant and naturals and have a natural talent. And there are other people at the other end of the spectrum who aren't going to be that good and need to improve quite a bit. Now, one of the things about superspeak and about flipnosis is the fact that we can all learn to get better at persuading. I'm not immune to superspeak at all. In fact, having written about it, I'm always on the lookout for great examples of it. And because I really like it, I'm much more likely to act on it. More than people perhaps who are not, because I see what's working and I can see it. The fact that I see what's working doesn't change it at all. In fact, it enhances the appeal. One of the best examples I've heard in recent times, to give you another example from the Sydney one, was I had a friend of mine who's a policeman. And I asked him, he's been a policeman for 20 years, and I asked him, if you call someone over for speeding, say if they're going too fast, and you pull them over, usually when you call them over and you're writing them out a ticket, it's pretty much 100% that they're going to get one. I said, has there ever been anything in your career as a policeman that stands out as a time when someone has changed your mind and made you put the ticket away? And he said there was one incident a few years ago where he pulled a man over for speeding, and he wound the window down, and my friend asked him, why were you going so fast? And without even thinking about it, he said, well, officer, let me tell you, 3 weeks ago, my wife ran off with one of you guys. And when I saw you in my rearview mirror, I thought you were bringing her back. And it was a very, very, sorry at the back, it was a very, very cheeky, very, very funny thing. And my friend just said it was completely incongruous, made him laugh. And it was one of the only times he said to the guy, okay, hope she does come back. But that was a really nice example. And if you think about it, I mean, if you're pulled over for speeding, you know, that's a serious thing. And it's a very powerful form of persuasion if you get it right. But like everything, when you're learning to persuade people, you have to take a few risks. It's a bit like, I always talk, you know, to use the tennis analogy, it's very much like playing tennis. You know, the tennis greats can play a winning shot and it lands right on the line. And often at a high level, you have to play a shot that lands on the line. But in order to practice that, you're going to hit a lot of shots that go out. And you have to be the kind of person that is willing to take those risks early on before you can calibrate and before you can learn exactly what it takes to get a shot on the line. And of course, even great players still hit balls out, you know. So, I mean, you're not going to get it right every single time. But what you can do is increase your chances of success.